Well, Julian, sorry for that hitch. And just as you were saying, it's a chilly morning here in Nairobi, and there is that perception that the number of people who are even coming to town at this particular time is not as much as it was there before, as most people are now embracing that point of call from the government that they should be working from home. And it has been a clarion call that has even permeated not just in other sectors but also in our newsrooms, as most people are now embracing that fact. People are even working and actually producing something from where they are, and this is now reducing the number of people that are coming into town. But even with this reduction of people that are coming into town and most places where they do work, there is that 68% of Kenyans, according to an InfoTrack poll, that is now calling on the government to lock down all systems and make sure that everybody works from home. But then, Julian's, that question that really begs, are we ready for a complete lockdown? That question has actually been asked so much, and have Kenyans actually planned enough for this lockdown if it really does happen? I know most people, just like you, Julians, have been calling, even myself, when they are trying to ask themselves, when is this lockdown really coming? Now, it is Kenyans who are asking for, but every time that we've gone to the Ministry of Health, the question has always begged, you people are asking for a lockdown, but have you been able to follow the guidelines that we put in place at this particular time? There is a curfew that has been put in from 7 o'clock in the evening, and during the day when people are going to their specific works, the call has been to social distance. So the question has always been, are we really following these guidelines? We've been receiving reports of some parts of this country where people are waiting for police officers to come and chase them from town or from where they are, and this is past 7 o'clock, and they're looking at it as a cat and mouse game. So if this lockdown is really put in place, is it something that is going to help, or are people still going to go into this? Then there's the other question of whether the government has planned enough for this lockdown. We saw yesterday in Mombasa, the governor there were pamphlets whereby the governor was calling on well-wishers to come and even donate food in the event of a lockdown. Is the government prepared? Is the Council of Governors prepared for this particular eventuality? Is the chairperson of the Agriculture Committee looking into this? Is the government going to give people food when they are at home? Because these are some of the questions that are begging in the event of a lockdown. But yesterday, when we were finished with our press conference at the Ministry of Health, there was that call by the Speaker of Nairobi County, that is Speaker Elachi, who even asked that it is time that we locked down Nairobi so that Kenyans are able to sit back at home and we are able to contain the numbers. So far, Nairobi ranks as the highest with the county with the highest number of people who have been infected. Yesterday alone, 12 new people were announced to have been infected by coronavirus. So let us listen to what her views were with regards to this call to close down Nairobi.
I support the lockdown because, if we are able to lock down and see how the numbers can stagnate at one point, it will help Kenya. We know very well it is us, the middle class, who take those planes to go out of the country. And therefore, it is time for us to take responsibility that we are privileged. We normally go out of the country. We are the ones who have brought in COVID. Let us not blame anyone of Madare. Let us not blame anyone of Kibera. But we are the ones who are going to give Kibera. Why? When your house girl comes, she's supposed to wash your clothes. She's supposed to clean your shoes. She's supposed to take care of your house. If you indeed have COVID, you have given her. And that is how we are going to do what? Find ourselves, ensure, and it will be the worst to have COVID spread in our congested areas. So I want to plead with the middle class. This is a disease. If we ask God, it is us who has brought it in this country. It is us. And therefore we must take that responsibility. We are wearing gloves. Can we start also the disposal of those gloves is very critical. I've realized when you go somewhere, you find people are just throwing them on the roads. It is wrong. Let us dispose them also in the right way so that we also protect the environment.
Well, that is a worry that came from the Speaker of Nairobi, and there is this feeling that if these people come to work for you at home and they do contract this disease and it is taken to the slums that we have in the country, we are looking at a disaster. And this is something that she was really citing when she was calling on closure of Nairobi. Then there was that other push by some governors who are saying that don't close the whole country, close a few of the main towns here in Nairobi. There was reference to Nairobi, there was reference to Mombasa, there was reference to Kisumu. But all this, we would like to see how it unfolds this week, whether the government is actually going to heed to calls of that 68 or even it was just something. You know, also there is that question of the sample, and also most Kenyans, we would also want to know what it feels. Also, this is also another week that we enter into where members of parliament are trooping into parliament just to get their status known about coronavirus. This Wednesday, we expect that Parliament will be coming up to discuss some of the proposals by President Uhuru Kenyatta, and there has been an ongoing exercise that started last week whereby members of Parliament have been going there to test for coronavirus. Almost it is being reported that 50, this is including members of the National Assembly and members of the Senate, have already gone there to be tested, and some of them whom we spoke to yesterday were saying that this morning they will be going there to know their status. So this coronavirus is not something that Kenyans want to joke with. And also this calls for them to lock down some parts of the country is just a push by a section of leaders and also a section of Nairobians. So it is quite something that we'll be looking into, and also we will not be allowed to know the results of these members of parliament so that it does not send so much panic into the country, but we would want to know what follows next. So this is a conversation that is starting, Julians, and also that question on whether you as a Kenyan are really prepared for this lockdown, or we will also see some panic shopping from what we saw when the first case of coronavirus was reported in the country. What will be happening? These are questions that we'll be asking here and also on NTV to know whether we are really ready, or do we really know what we are asking for when it comes to a lockdown. Back to you, Julians, in studio.